We're joined now by one of our regulars. He's Marcus Mabry, the international business editor of the New York Times. Marcus, it's always good to see you, but it's always bad news when we talk. So let me get right to it. We have this economic decline now around the world, and it only seems to be accelerating. Is that true, or is it my imagination?
Well, what's accelerating is the fear of how bad this recession is going to be, how long it will last, and how deep it will fall, the global economy will fall. That's what's accelerating, kind of negative expectations. And that's why we see stock markets being hammered around the world, and there's a return of a crisis of confidence in financial institutions.
Well, that's what I was going to get at. We've seen yesterday, Citigroup has had not a collapse, but I mean a significant plunge in their stock values. And once again, it began with a credit crunch. We're back to the credit crunch. The runs on these banks, on the financial institutions, what happened?
That's exactly where we are. We basically see lots of assets being pulled out of these institutions, and that's one problem. So that makes people less confident in their future, and that also, that money is leaving these institutions because the global economy looks more and more dire, at least going forward, every single day, and greater expectations of a downturn leads to great lack of confidence in these financial institutions.
So we see, the world economies are much more intertwined than they were, say, in the past recessions, those of the 70s and those of the 80s. So does that mean it will be that much more difficult to find a way out of this?
Absolutely. Well, think about the last time that the United States had the kind of recession we're about to go through. This will probably be significantly worse than the recessions of the early 1980s. At that point, China was not really even a factor. At this point, however, China's growth is dependent upon American consumption. Without American consumption, and already it's dried up, Chinese growth rates are going to probably be cut in half. Rather than 10 or 12%, we could be looking at even 5 or 6%. That's going to feel like a depression in China.
Well, and I'm going to ask you about China in just another question, but talking about Barack Obama now, the president-elect, as he comes to power, what's the first thing he's got to do? I mean, there's talk of a new incentive package, that there be some sort of perhaps tax cut or investment on the part of government spending in the infrastructure. What does he have to do the moment he takes on the job? Well,
it's going to have to be about two things. It's going to have to be about making sure that Americans feel like they can consume again, which is going to be about a stimulus program for especially middle class and consumers. Secondly, it's going to be about shoring up the auto industry, because whatever happens between now and his inauguration day, they will need more help if there's going to be an American auto industry.
So actually, he needs to infuse almost not cash, but confidence in the people.
Absolutely. It's more important at this point than cash is confidence.
But how does he do that? How, as the President of the United States, do you hold a fireside chat like Roosevelt? I mean, what?
Well, I don't think that will be sufficient enough. I think at this point he's going to have to surround himself, first of all, with strong Treasury officials. Right now, we know who Homeland Security is going to be in his administration, and we don't know who the Treasury Secretary is. He's got to get on that ball right away.
And back to China again. We keep looking to China as sort of the key rescue here. Is that true, and how much rescue can China truly provide?
Well, this is what's somewhat disheartening, Martin. I think that makes the kind of negative expectations going forward even more negative. China is not a consumerist society. It is an export economy. They have to switch from being an export economy, from being a consumption economy, if they're going to be the engine that drives global commerce. I don't think it's likely to happen, and that's why we're going to need the U.S. to get out of this recession. And until it does, I think you're going to see the entire global growth slowing down to a snail's pace.
And we'll probably see a great deal more of you. Marcus Mabry.
Sadly.
Thank you.